For 12 years, my cabin stood peacefully on the edge of Maple Lake. It wasn't much, a small one-room log structure with a wraparound porch built by my grandfather's hands back in the 60s. To me, it was sacred. It held memories, generations of fishing trips, stories told by the fire, and the last place I hugged my father before he passed. So when I pulled up one crisp autumn morning and found it gone, I dropped my thermos in shock. All that remained was a pile of rubble, with splinters, broken stone, my grandfather's chair, shattered and lying in the mud like a corpse. Then I saw the bright blue plastic sign staked right into the ground. Coming soon. Lakeside Community Walking Path, Maple Lake HOA. It didn't even bother to call me. Didn't ask. Didn't send a letter. They just brought in a backhoe and leveled my family's legacy. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream, but I just stood there, heart racing, staring at the lake in disbelief. I stormed to the HOA office, a white-paneled building with a fake lighthouse out front. I demanded to speak to whoever approved the demolition. A gray-haired woman with sharp red lipstick and a clipped voice said coldly, "Oh, you must be Mr. Brenner. That little cabin was built too close to the public water line. The community voted to replace it with a nature path. You weren't living there, so you tore it down without even asking?" "Sir," she interrupted, "technically you don't own that land. It's part of community common space now." I blinked, tried to absorb her audacity. "But I've paid taxes on that parcel for years." She smirked. "Please take it up with our legal counsel. Now, if you'll excuse me, we're planning the ribbon cutting next week." I walked out trembling with rage. But what they didn't know was that I do own that shoreline. In fact, I own everything from the tree line to the water, including 40 feet of lakefront they were now planning to pave over. And I had deeds to prove it. Real, official county documents with coordinates, maps, and notarized signatures dating back to 1972. But I wasn't going to argue with some smug receptionist. No, I was going to burn them legally, slow and loud. The very next day, I hired a land surveyor. He spent 2 days measuring every inch of shoreline. His report confirmed what I already knew. The HOA's walking path would be running directly through my privately owned land. I sent them a cease and desist letter through my lawyer. The HOA ignored it again, so I took it up a notch. I called the city zoning office and requested an urgent enforcement inspection. When the inspector arrived, I walked him through the ruins of my cabin and handed him the deed. His eyebrows shot up. They built on private land without an easement? Correct. They demolished a privately owned structure without a permit or court order. He made 2 calls right there on the spot. The second one went to the city attorney. But it still wasn't enough for me, because as the HOA broke ground for their shiny new walking path, I was preparing something much, much bigger. A lawsuit, not just for property damage, but for trespassing, unlawful demolition, emotional distress, and the destruction of historical property. I compiled old photos of my grandfather building the cabin, black and white prints of us fishing by the dock. I even found a hand-carved sign that once hung on the door, Brenner's Peace. I included it all in the lawsuit packet. Then I filed it with the county court and served the HOA president in person, right as she was posing for a photo at the ribbon-cutting ceremony. As the giant scissors sliced through the ribbon, I handed her the envelope. She opened it. Her face went pale. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I smiled. The HOA president, Janice, didn't even finish the ribbon cutting. She excused herself mid-photo, hands trembling around the court envelope, as the camera crew stood confused. By the time she read through the lawsuit's first 3 pages, I saw her lips moving, counting, maybe calculating how deep they were in trouble. It didn't take long. A court summons was issued within 2 weeks. I had asked for $400,000 in damages, $75,000 for the demolished cabin, $100,000 for emotional distress, $50,000 for the illegal seizure of land, $75,000 in punitive damages, and the rest for legal fees and restoration costs. HOA's insurance company nearly fainted. But the real twist? During discovery, My attorney found multiple emails between Janice and the HOA board, clearly stating that they knew the cabin might be on privately owned land, but decided to demolish it anyway. The exact words from one email read, "It's just one guy. If he complains, we'll just say it was community space. Nobody's going to fight us over an old shack." They didn't just make a mistake, they made a deliberate choice. That email was the nail in the coffin. Court day came fast. The HOA lawyer tried to delay, but the judge denied every motion. Janice tried to claim eminent domain, but I wasn't part of their HOA. They had no authority. When my lawyer showed the original deed, plus satellite imagery, county maps, and photos of the demolished cabin, the judge's expression tightened. But when he read the HOA emails aloud in the courtroom, everything changed. He turned to their attorney and said, "Your clients will be lucky if this doesn't end up a criminal matter." Then came the ruling. The judge awarded me everything I asked for $100,000, plus a court order for the HOA to remove the walking path and rebuild my cabin within 60 days, using materials equivalent to the ones destroyed and approved by my architect. But that wasn't all. He also ordered the HOA president personally fined $5,000 for bad faith action. And he warned, if any future harassment occurred, it would be considered retaliatory action under state property law, a serious offense. Word spread fast. Maple Lake's local Facebook group exploded with the story. HOA gets sued by lone homeowner and loses big, made the news in 2 counties. Neighbors I didn't even know came up to shake my hand. One elderly woman brought me a pie and said, "I used to take my kids past that cabin. I'm glad it's coming back." And it did. 63 days later, after some delays, inspections, and a very quiet, unhappy construction crew, I stepped inside the new structure. It looked just like my grandfather's cabin. Every log, every beam. They even carved Brenner's piece above the doorway. Only now, there's a heavy-duty steel fence around the entire property line. Signs on every post, private property. No trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted. And that HOA, let's just say after a year of bad press, lawsuits from other members, and 3 board resignations, Maple Lake HOA was dissolved. Gone. Just like my cabin once was. Only I rebuilt mine. They never could. If that twist hit you hard, imagine what's coming next. Subscribe now for daily episodes that uncover shocking HOA battles, real-life revenge, and justice that hits back harder. New stories every day. Don't miss out.